Hi, I'm Tim and welcome to this video. This is part 2 of my Alta Labs Home Lab setup series, and in this video we're going to be naming our devices, we're going to be tagging ports and also creating VLANs and putting our devices into the relevant VLANs. So we'll get right to it now, hop on the computer behind me and get started. So here we are, and as you can see I've logged into the Alta Labs controller. So I'm using the manage.alta.inc, which is their cloud controller, as you know. I've logged in and we're at the dashboard. So you'll see there's a graph with network activity, various devices and so on. So what we're going to be doing is creating some VLANs and putting the specific devices into those VLANs. So to do this, what we'll do is at the top we'll go to network, and you will see we've got the Route 10 and S24 PoE. So then we'll click on devices, and as you can see I've now connected a number of devices, and you'll see we've got 2 pages because of the page icons here at the bottom. So what we'll do is change the page layout so that we get 25 devices per page, as you will see here, and then we've just got them all on the one page rather than having to flick backwards and forwards through the page numbers. So at the top we've got cam 1, which is my security camera, and we've got com MIDI. So you'll see that these devices, some of them anyway, have odd names against them. So what we'll do is just name them with friendly names so that we know what they are on the network. So cam 1, that can be left as cam 1, which is one of my security cameras, as I've just mentioned. And then the second device, com MIDI, or com mid 1 rather, is my smart TV. So what we'll do is rename this. So to do this, you just click on the name, delete the name, and then rename it to, for example, STV1, and then press enter. And that's now renamed the device. Then under this, we've got Home Assistant Server, we've got the Media Server, NAS1, and then Printer, which is PRN1, and then we've got STV, which we've just renamed, and it's just resorted into alphabetical order. Then we've got the uplink, we've got WAN1, which is the internet connection, of course. We've got WRK1, which is this PC I'm on at the moment. Then we've got ZIG1, which is my Zigbee controller, or Zigbee coordinator rather. And then we've got Sky TV, which is for my satellite TV box, which has got no name against it. So what we'll do is just give this one a name by clicking on it, renaming it to call it SAT1. And the same, as it has 2 network connections in the Sky TV box, we'll just give this one a name as well and call it SAT1. And as you can see, it's now put SAT1 next to each other, so there's 2 entries for that, but it doesn't matter. It's all connected to the same network port, which is port 8 on the Alta Labs S24. So now that we've renamed those devices, what we'll do is go in and create another VLAN. So to do this, click Settings at the top and then select the Networks icon. And you'll see that I've got 2 networks already in there. VLAN 1, which is the default and which is set up by default when you set up the cloud controller. Then we've also got VLAN 6, which is the VLAN that I've actually created already. However, what we're going to be doing is adding another VLAN, and we'll call this one VLAN ID 3. So to do this, we click Add. Then you get this pop-up window, as you'll see. So I'll just drag it to the center of the screen to make it easier for you to see. Then in the VLAN, what we'll do is give it a VLAN number. So in this case, we're calling it VLAN 3. So in the note box, you can give it a name, a friendly name. For example, this will be the automation VLAN. Then in the router IP, we'll give it an IP range of 192.168.3.1 and then /24. So it's a /24 network. You can, of course, change this number if you want a smaller DHCP IP range. However, just for simple purposes, we'll leave it as a /24 network. You'll see we've got reserved IPs of 10 in there by default. That's okay. So what it will do is reserve those first 10 IPs as for static IP purposes. Then we've got the pool size, which is 243. We'll leave that as default. And then the lease time, what we'll do with this is normally by default, and when it's blank, it will give you a lease time So if you hover over the question mark icon, it will say seconds of time given to DHCP clients for their lease. If you leave it blank, it will default to 86,400 seconds, which is 1 day. So of course there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, and then there's 60 seconds in an hour, and of course there's 24 hours in a day. So that will work out to be 86,400 seconds. So as I want my current connected devices, which we're putting into VLAN 3, to get their new IP address a lot quicker than 1 day, what we'll do is set this to 300. So this is the minimum amount of time, so that will be 5 minutes. So then in 5 minutes, after the device has been reconnected to the VLAN, it should pick up a new IP address range. So once they've picked up a new IP address, what you can do is then remove that lease time of 300, just leave it blank, and then it will default back to 1 day. If you have it to a short of time for all your VLANs, then it will put excessive load onto the router or router, whichever you like to call it, which is issuing the IP addresses. So reduce the load by setting it to 1 day. So I wouldn't recommend 300 permanently, but just put it back to 86,400, or specifically leaving the lease time box blank. So hopefully that makes sense. So then for DNS servers, we'll leave that as blank. Domain name and everything else, we'll leave it as blank for the time being. However, if you want to isolate this VLAN so it cannot talk to other VLANs, then what you would do is select the isolation option here. Now by default it is disabled, but if you want to isolate the VLAN so it cannot communicate or talk to other VLANs, then enable this box. But just for this lab testing purposes, we'll just leave it as default, which is disabled. So once we've done that, we can then click add, and you'll now see that we've got VLAN 3, which is our automation VLAN. So we can then close this box here by clicking X, and then that has now created our VLAN. So of course then what we need to do is to put these devices into the VLAN. So to do this, what we'll do is go back to devices at the top here. So what we're going to be doing is putting CAM1, DBL1, which is my video doorbell, HAS1, which is Home Assistant, and also ZIG1, which is the Zigbee coordinator. So all those devices we're going to be putting into the new VLAN ID 3. So what we need to do that is go to network at the top. Then you'll see we've got our S24 PoE, which is the network switch. So what you need to do is click on the icon. This will then bring up the ports allocation table here. So let me just drag this and drop it in the center, and also click the green icon here, which will make the box bigger, as you can see. So if you want to make the box smaller again, you just click the green icon again and it will reduce the size, as you will see. So we'll just make it a bit bigger for this purpose. And then what we need to do is, of course, make a note of which ports your devices are connected in to which you want to put into your new VLAN. So when I connected the devices into the switch, I made a note of the ports that they're connected to. So in this case, it's going to be port number 1. And as you can see, this is also a PoE port. So the device connected to port 1 is the video doorbell, which is PoE powered. So what we'll do is, once we've allocated it to the VLAN, we'll then power cycle it using this button here, so that it then disconnects and reconnects to the network, and it should then pick up a new IP in that VLAN that we've created. We'll click on the ports individually. So for example, port 1, with the pop-up window that appears, you'll see we've got native VLAN. So all you need to do is change the native VLAN using the custom option, type in VLAN 3, and then click on the save button. And you'll now see that native VLAN has changed to 3. So we can now close that window. And then if we click on port number 1, you'll see that we've now got native VLAN as 3. So what we'll do is hover over the port number 1 again. And then what we'll do is select power cycle. Now this is now power cycling the port, and as you can see it's just turned grey, and then in a moment it should then power back up and turn orange, and pick up a new IP in the new VLAN 3. Check this. What we'll do is just go back to our devices at the top by clicking devices, and as you can see we've still got that window with the ports open, which is okay. So for port number 1, you'll now see that we've got the doorbell DBL1, which has now picked up a new IP address in the new VLAN 3. So what we'll do is click on port number 2, again change the native VLAN to custom VLAN 3, click save, close the pop-up window, and then hover over the port and select power cycle. Then again for port number 3, we'll click on this, select native VLAN, enter 3 in custom, click save, close this pop-up, and then for number 3, and then hover over number 3 without clicking on it and just select power cycle. So you'll now see that we've got doorbell, which is still in VLAN 3, which is correct. We've also got the Zigbee device, which has now picked up the new IP in VLAN 3. As you can see, it's 3.11. And then in a second, we should see CAN1 pick up the new IP as well in VLAN 3. And there you go, 192.168.3.12. So of course, we also need to do the Home Assistant one, which is HAS1 here, as it's still in the default IP. So to do this, we'll click on port number 4, and then for native VLAN, we'll change this again by clicking custom, putting in 3, click save, close that pop-up window, and then in the space of 5 minutes, so you have to wait 5 minutes, the Home Assistant server should pick up a new IP address. So it should change to 192.168.3. and then 2 digits after that. So what we'll do is just wait 5 minutes. So I'll come back to this video in 5 minutes and we'll check and see if Home Assistant has picked up a new IP address. So after waiting about 7 minutes, the Home Assistant server has now picked up the new IP address, as you can see, in the correct VLAN, which is 192.168.3.13. So it's now all in the same VLAN IP range as my cameras and also the Zigbee coordinator here at the bottom. So now we've done that, what we can do is put the lease time for the VLAN back to the default. So to do this, we'll click on settings at the top, select again networks, then click on the VLAN ID number, so it's VLAN 3, and then the lease time with the pop-up window, as you'll see. So I'll just drag this down. So we've got the lease time as 300 seconds, which is what we changed it to. So what we'll do is just delete that, leave it blank, so it's default of 1 day, and click save. This has now changed VLAN 3 to the default lease time. So we'll click X on the pop-up window, and then we'll go back to devices and just make sure, yes, that they're still in the correct IP range. So what we'll do is I'll just test this by loading up Home Assistant. And as you can see, we've got welcome home to the Home Assistant login page. So that's correctly working on the network. So that's how easy it is to create VLANs in the Alta Labs network controller. So they've made it very easy to follow, everything's straightforward. The layout is very good, straightforward, clean layout, clean interface, easy to use with the settings. Settings are easy to find in the relevant tabs, and they've not made it too cluttered, which is what I like. So that will do it for this video. Hope you're liking this Alta Labs lab setup series, and I'll be back again soon with more videos. And of course, if you want me to show you how to do something in the Alta Labs controller, then feel free to leave a comment and I'll try to assist if I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon with more Alta Labs videos, and not only that, more other videos as well. So keep a lookout for those videos coming again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.